This arrow is from the Stone Age, and it just punched through solid bone. And what's even crazier is that archaeologists keep finding these arrows melting out of glaciers in Norway. Some are so ancient that mammoths were still roaming the planet when they were made. Today, we'll recreate these weapons and test them on a variety of targets to see just how deadly Stone Age arrows were.
But here's my challenge. I can only recreate these weapons with Stone Age technology. That means no power tools and no cheating. If our ancestors couldn't do it thousands of years ago, then neither can I.
Now you might be thinking, isn't Stone Age technology pretty simple? Well, let's look at this arrow found melting out of a glacier in Norway. It was found to date back to 3,200 years ago. And isn't the preservation just stunning? After all of these years, the stone point is still in place, attached firmly with sinew and tree sap. We are going to recreate this point, but first, I need flint. I bought hundreds of pounds off the internet just for this video. Yes, my mailman absolutely hates me. I got a big nodule and the goal is to hit a flake off.
Alright, here we go. There we go, kinda. As you can see, the flake completely shattered, so I can't use it for an arrowhead. Alright, let's hope we can get a flake off here. It broke again. Dang it. Actually, look at this roughly arrow-shaped flake. I think we can turn this into an arrowhead. Alright, time to switch to the antler tools. This is going to be hard.
I'm used to using copper tools. Antler tools are way harder to use. And right here, I just made the worst mistake in flint knapping, a step fracture. This makes it almost impossible to send flakes across. You have to instead send a flake from the other side of the point, which to my surprise I was able to do.
So next we're going to be using a good old antler pressure flaker in order to finish this point. Here's the finished point, and I'm honestly really happy with it. The flaking actually turned out really nice and actually has some serrations on this edge.
There's no doubt that this point is deadly, but what is an arrow without a shaft? So I went out and collected the best arrow wood in the region, dogwood. After drying for weeks, it is ready to be used to finish the arrow. And while I'm doing this, let me tell you about the world when this arrow was made. The wooden shaft was radiocarbon dated back to 3,000 years ago, which would be during the Bronze Age, so why was this arrow tipped with stone? Well, these so-called ages are not as cut and dry as they may seem. It took thousands of years for bronze technology to make its way to remote regions like Scandinavia. Stone tools continue to be used alongside metal tools for thousands of years. This is because stone is everywhere, and it is incredibly effective at cutting. And to finish my arrow, I covered the tip in a homemade pine pitch glue just like the original. This makes it waterproof and creates a smooth transition, helping the arrow to penetrate deeper. And our finished arrow is certainly a deadly weapon.
Time to see just how deadly these ancient projectiles were. Our first target is a cantaloupe. I know, not exactly a one-to-one comparison to a reindeer, but it's a pretty good example of soft tissue. Alright, let's hope I don't mess this up. Oh! I mean, it's nothing crazy, but hey, if that was an Oregon or a reindeer or something, I mean, that would be a kill shot right there. That's some good penetration. And our arrow is completely fine. That exit wound looks fatal. But now time for a much harder target, a coconut. They're basically bone hard, it's like a skull. This will test the limits of the arrow that I harvested from nature. I'm scared for this one. Sorry, coconut. Oh! Well, unfortunately, I didn't hit it head on, and the arrowhead actually went flying out somewhere. I wasn't able to find it. But luckily, stone arrowheads are replaceable, and I'll just make another one for the next test. The coconut wins this time.
But here's the real test. This is ballistics gel with real pork ribs inside, simulating an actual animal. If this arrow can't break through the ribs, that hunter 3,000 years ago was going home hungry. But before we do the final test, I found something. This arrow is 5,400 years old. It's the oldest complete arrow ever found in Norway. And the crazy part? It wasn't made by chipping stone like the first one. Instead, it was ground down from slate. Which means, anyone watching this video could make one right now. And I'm going to show you how. All you have to do is buy a slate tile from your local hardware store, and then destroy it. You'll end up with some bits roughly shaped like an arrowhead. Next, roughly shape it with a stone. And now just rub it against another rock. For hours. And I mean hours.
This is taking forever.
But hey, it doesn't take any other tools. And this tells us something about slate technology. It could be made when you don't have access to a quality flint source. And it didn't take any complex tools to make, just another rock. And cultures such as the Inuit use this technology to make all kinds of weapons, even including harpoons for massive marine mammals. I ground mine to be very similar to the original, and I put oil on it to bring out the colors. Next I hafted it to an arrow shaft. I don't know if my point could kill a whale, but man does this thing look deadly. This blade is 3 times bigger than the first arrow. It is basically like shooting a dagger at someone. The resulting wound could down a reindeer in seconds. But I want to make one more, even deadlier arrow. This one was found in nearby Sweden in a bog. It consisted of a wooden arrow tip with 5 stone blades attached to it. This is what is known as Microlithic technology. You take long stone flakes from a core, break them up, and haft them to your arrow. The finished product is insanely cool, and undoubtedly deadly. Now that we have 3 terrifying Stone Age arrows, it's time to test them.
This is ballistics gel with real pork ribs inside, simulating an actual animal. First up is the flint arrow. If we hit one of those ribs, this projectile will probably explode, so let's hope we get between them. All right, let's see if we would have went hungry 3,400 years ago. Oh, look at that! Well, check that out. I think we might have gotten a reindeer. It's pretty hard to see, but we made it into the organ cavity, and if that would have hit the heart or even the lung, that could have been a dead reindeer. But let's try again and see if we can get better penetration. I have a bad feeling we're gonna hit a rib this time. Oh! Well, that was another very similar shot. I wonder if we're just getting lucky or if we're hitting the ribs and bouncing in, but yeah, the projectile is just fine. Well, that worked out pretty well, but we really didn't get that much penetration, so that reindeer might have lived on and we might have just injured it. So now it's time to try out the 5,400-year-old Slate point. This one has a lot more weight to it and hopefully it'll penetrate further into the target. All right, let's see if I would have gotten a reindeer 5,400 years ago. Oh, look at that! I am never underestimating Slate again. Look at that. It poked right through the ribs and all the way to the backside of the ballistics gel. That would almost certainly be a dead reindeer. But now let's pull it out to see if the Slate projectile is fine. Man, it's in there. Oh, I love touching raw pork. Oh, here we go. Check that out. It's almost perfect. I mean, we dented the tip a little bit there where it must have hit a bone, but wow, look at that. Slate is definitely deadly. Lastly, let's try out the arrow that's nearly 10,000 years old. This is easily the deadliest arrow I have ever seen. But you have to wonder why a hunter would need 4 of these blades on the side of their arrow. You'd think this one on the tip would be enough. But let's stop wondering and actually find out. I'm nervous for this one. Oh! Oh my God, look at that, we nailed it. It penetrated through the thickest part of the ribs and made it all the way to the other side. This would have been deadly on an animal or human. And guys, I think I know what this arrow was for and why they needed 4 blades. Just watch this. You can pull the point out just like that because that pine glue is really not too strong, and when it impacts bone like that, it shatters. And you may be thinking, why would you want an arrow that shatters? Wouldn't you want it to be reusable? But check this out. When we pull this out of the wound, you can see that we're only left with 2 blades, meaning whatever your target was, it would have gotten a fatal infection. All of that glue and broken stones would have been lodged inside of you. And this is clear evidence to me that this arrow was meant for warfare. In traditional societies like the Amazon or the Australian Aboriginals, projectiles used for warfare often featured barbs, so it'd be nearly impossible to pull it out, and they were often made to disintegrate when they hit your flesh, filling your wound with all kinds of things that would have led to an infection. And I think 10,000 years ago in Sweden, they were using these arrows for the same thing.
Next we'll be seeing if I can actually hit anything with these arrows. But first, a word from our sponsor. Humans have always cared about sleep, because sleep is what lets you survive another day. For most of my life though, I just slept on whatever mattress I inherited. I honestly didn't think about it until I started filming long outdoor shoots and waking up feeling exhausted even after a full night of sleep. I'd actually heard about Helix years ago from other creators and friends who swore by the sleep quiz, so when they reached out it made sense, because bad sleep was genuinely becoming a problem for me. Helix makes premium mattresses and bedding that are customized to fit your personal sleep needs. They offer over 20 different mattresses and a variety of mattress toppers. Here's how it works. With Helix, you take their sleep quiz, and it asks questions about how I sleep, the temperature, firmness, and they match you with a mattress designed around that. Mine is built for pressure relief and cooler sleep, which matters because I overheat constantly at night. The new mattress was indeed much cooler and much more comfortable than my old one. The difference wasn't falling asleep, it was staying asleep. It's honestly been a game changer. Since switching, I've had noticeably more energy during filming days, which helps when you're outside for hours doing experimental archaeology. But honestly, the biggest change is mental. Better sleep just helps me focus so much better. It ships straight to your door in a box. So you get a 120-night trial. and a lifetime warranty, so you're not guessing whether it works. Helix is also running their President's Day sale right now. Go to helix.com/north02 to get 27% off site-wide. And thanks to Helix for sponsoring the channel.
Now it's time to move on to the final challenge. It's time to put my hunting skills to the test. Over there I have a deer target. I'm going to shoot at it from 3 different distances, each 10 meters apart. Each arrow that hits its mark will be given away to one of you. But if I miss, I would have gone home hungry, and my arrow will be an artifact in the snow. Alright, first 10 meters, I mean this should be pretty easy. This is not too bad of a range. But let's see if my arrow flies straight. Boom! Look at that. Dead. That would have been a dead deer. It's not the best shot in the world, but that would have went into its lungs and killed it. Alright, we move back to 20 meters. I'm pretty nervous for this one. This is pretty far away to shoot with a primitive bow, and I can feel the wind picking up, so who knows? Let's just go for it. Oh! Unfortunately, it was a bit low, but luckily it bounced off the snow and I can see it over there. Well, there's the arrow. It's not completely lost, so let's test that one more time. Well, we got an extremely lucky second chance, so let's hope we don't mess this one up too. Oh, look at that! We hit it! We hit it! You know, that's definitely not the best shot right there. I probably hit it in the guts instead of the lungs, so that deer might have lived another couple painful hours until I tracked it down and shot it again, but hey, we hit it from 20 meters away. Alright guys, it all comes down to this. Let's see if a 10,000-year-old arrow design can hit a deer at 30 meters away. This is a really far shot. I bet you can barely see it on camera right now. And I have a feeling I'm not going to hit this. This is a Hail Mary for sure. Alright, here we go. Oh, I landed right next to the deer. Wow, that was really close. Check that out. I was a foot away from dinner right there. But hey, we have the arrow, so we might as well give it one more shot. That was way closer than I thought, so let's give it another go. Oh, I hit it. I actually hit it from here. I can't believe that. I think I got him in like the leg or something, but wow. Well, that definitely wasn't a fatal shot, but man, for 30 meters, I'll take it. This reindeer definitely wouldn't have died, but hey, it might have been crippled and maybe I could get another shot and get some dinner. Well, this proves that this 10,000-year-old technology is still deadly.
These arrows performed better than I expected, so I guess I'll have to give away all 3 of them. I'll be giving them away on my Instagram, and the instructions will be on my latest post. Next, let's talk about some of the other crazy things archaeologists have found melting out of Norwegian glaciers. Because these arrows are only the tip of the iceberg, or I guess the tip of the glacier. Thousands of other ancient objects have been found in Norway, many made of wood, stone, bone, and other materials. Many bone and even shell arrowheads have been found. It just goes to show you that you can make a deadly weapon out of almost anything. This arrow had a blunt end, likely for hunting small game. Here is a little knife dating back to 1500 years ago. It is almost identical to the knives still used in Norway to this day. But some other far stranger objects have been found. Can you guess what this is? A snowshoe for a horse. This little object was a bit that was placed in the mouths of young goats. It prevented them from drinking their own mother's milk, so the greedy humans could take it instead. Here is a ski that was found in a glacier which dated to 1300 years ago, and here's an even older Iron Age tunic. They even found a Viking sword in the high mountains of Uppland. It was found simply lying on the surface where it had been for about 1,000 years. No one knows why such a precious object was lost in this barren region. Perhaps a man was lost, or perhaps it was some kind of ritual burial. We will never know. Another more touching find was the remains of a dog with a collar and a leash still preserved. The remains show that the dog had recovered from broken ribs at one point, suggesting that he was cared for. An analysis of the stomach contents found that he ate fish for his last meal. He died in the 16th century. Of what cause is not known, but what a personal find. My ancestors were still living in this region in the 1500s, and maybe at some point they lost a tool or a dog in this region, who knows. Shout out to the ancestors, man. Who knows what else they might find in Norwegian glaciers. On their website they said they were hoping to find a frozen Viking. That would be awesome. I'm sure you have all heard about Ötzi the Iceman from northern Italy. He was found with all kinds of stone and copper tools, and his body was almost perfectly preserved. I actually got to see him in person a few years back. The museum in Bolzano is amazing, and it just makes me think there has to be another ice mummy somewhere, maybe even a frozen Neanderthal. When one is discovered, just remember that I called it. What ancient weapon should I recreate and test out next? Leave a comment down below, and smash that like button like you are a slate-tipped arrow in Norway 5,400 years ago impacting a reindeer. And if you want to see more ancient technology put to the test, hit subscribe. Arrivederci.